Greetings, this is Brother Craig Conwell Muhammad and Brother Todd X. McGraw coming to you from I-5 TV by Miss Jasmine Springer.
That's right.
On the 10,000 Fearless Hour of Power. We are happy for you to join us this afternoon, and we hope to have some stimulating conversation, questions, answers, and all in between about the state of our people here in America, and the state of our nation, and the state of the black man and woman as we try to exist in this nation. So brothers and sisters, join us, and I hope that you will like what we're going to discuss today. It will be very high-powered, very intense, and very informative. So I'm here with my brother Todd. We call him Todd the God. So we are happy to have Brother Todd here today.
Yes, sir, brother.
And beloved, we're going to have a number of conversations we're going to discuss today. We want to particularly talk about the state of black America as we exist in what seems to be a police state, under police brutality.
That's right.
We want to talk about the violence that is taking place in our community, among ourselves, and the violence that is being perpetrated on us by those outside of our community. We also want to discuss the protection, respect, and control of the black woman. That word control now.
Yeah,
black
that's
woman
a
particularly
buzzword right there.
That's a buzzword. So, but we want to talk about that. We want to talk about how it seems that this government is systematically moving us from the planet. It almost seems as if there's a concerted effort and a conspiracy, if you will, to deny the black man and woman freedom, justice, and equality. So we want to talk about these things. We want to go into the conversation very fluidly. So, Brother Todd, what are some of your concerns or comments about that particular topic?
Well, as of now, my biggest concern is that I fear that we don't really know the time and what must be done as a people. We really believe that we have a recourse in this system, and that if we can prove that we're being mistreated, that we will be given freedom, justice, and equality. And we have to come to terms with the condition that we're in. Number one, being a black male and a woman that has the potential to produce black men, you're a threat to a rule that has been in place for 6,000 years. Over 500 years here in the Western Hemisphere, 6,000 years on the planet. You and your God-given talents to succeed or achieve something in this world's life is a detriment to the continued rule of white supremacy. So knowing that, I hope and pray that Allah blesses us with the 10,000 Fearless to inform our people to be the best use for themselves and the best use for their people. They should know what to do and how to do it.
What is the 10,000 Fearless? What exactly is that? We heard Minister Farrakhan, the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, mention that at the Million Man March, October of last year.
Yes.
So exactly what is the 10,000 Fearless in your mind?
Well, 10,000 Fearless in my mind is 10,000 fearless men and women willing to put their lives on the line to stand between the guns and the police. 10,000 Fearless in my mind is 10,000 fearless men and women willing and to stand in the gap between fratricidal conflict, us fighting each other over what we see as foolishness. When we have the whole world falling down around us, we're fighting for nothing. That's in my mind. That's what 10,000 Fearless is.
Will that include conflict resolution?
Conflict resolution, how to conduct yourselves with the police, how to be upward and mobile, make the best use for yourselves, be a producer instead of a consumer, control your own destiny, not to fall for the snares and traps and loopholes of a society that is setting you up for failure. That's what 10,000 Fearless men and women for me is.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Often in the black community, particularly in this dispensation of time, it seems as if the black community are 10,000 fearful of the powers of white supremacy, of the powers of the economic exploitation, of the powers of their political subjugation, of the power of their social constructs that they have in place to really crush and make black life miserable here in America. So how can the 10,000 or 40 million fearful people, how can we get 10,000 fearless out of the 40 million? when we seem to be so full of fear of the power of white supremacy and its effect.
Well, Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan instructed us to say what he said and say it just like he said it. We have to relate to our people and ourselves because we're not, we're in this with them. We have the mindset that, well, we're comfortable, not so much the mindset with someone providing a job, an education, feeding and clothing us, providing us health care. So if we're in that situation where we're used to being supported by someone that doesn't have our best interests, to remove that support from ourselves and to support our own selves is a dangerous situation. So we're not easily willing to give up dependence on a power structure that doesn't have our best interests. So not only do you have to let them know the time and what must be done, then you have to educate them to produce a system, a reality that will support them and their people.
That's very difficult to do when our people seem to be suffering from the illusion of inclusion.
That's right.
In this world of white supremacy.
That's right.
And because we suffer from that illusion, then we have those of us who are educated or in the educated class who seem to derive some benefit from this society. We try to sell that dream to those of us who are the masses, whom that dream is really an impossibility, because that's the way this system is set up. It is set up for those who seem to raise to the top that white folk draw out and then put before the rest of us as mannequins in the window of democracy.
That's right.
To sell it to us, to the masses, like this democracy works, when really it's not working for the masses. So when you're talking about getting 10,000 fearless from 40 million people,
yes,
and that's a relatively small number, but when you look at it, the fear that is ingrained in Black America
and the hesitation.
Oh, it is really unprecedented. We had more slaves that were willing to remove themselves from this,
put it on the
line from this system.
That's right.
Than those of us who appear to be free right now.
That's right. We are people that beg for what we need and get what we want. We are in a situation. We have been made in a situation where we don't always do what is best for us, and this is why God has given us men and women willing to stand up for us. And it really started with the Black woman. It really started with the Black woman taking a stand. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that the Black man is destroyed, but the Black woman was corrupted. So we're a destroyed man, and then our woman is looking at us, wanting us to take the lead, but then he is, hesitant. So she stands out, hoping that her man will back her. And that's the condition that we're in. With the 10,000 fearless, we have more questions and inquiries from women than we do men, as far as wanting to become an actual part of it.
So I think you hit that on the head, brother. So Willie Lynch is very alive
and well
in the Black community.
Whether he actually existed or not, there's a lot of people saying there was no such person as Willie Lynch, but I know that letter is significant.
That letter is a reality.
It's a reality.
Because the Black woman is very strong, and the men are physically strong but mentally weak. So there you have this dynamic of Black men and women. No wonder 66% of our marriages end in divorce.
That's right.
And we don't seem to have the proper relationship with one another because it's so out of balance. It's so out of the bounds of what is normal. Mm-hmm. But it has become normal in the Black community to see Black women
taking charge, leading.
And Black men sit behind the scenes all cowardly,
waiting to see what will happen before they make a move.
Well, the enemy has gotten to the point now, not only is he killing Black men, he's attacking our women and killing her.
That's right.
And even killing our children. And we as men sitting behind recording it with our cell phones while our woman is getting beat down and our children are getting beat down in the street.
That's right.
What do you think about that, brother?
Man, there was a Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan mentioned, the name escapes me, but there was a man in somewhere in the Middle East where he was facing death. And he said to the people, they said, well, what are you going to do now? How is your movement going to survive? He said, my movement will survive as long as there are women that will have babies. Because the woman carries the idea of progress for us, revolution, if you will. And, when you say revolution, you have to include discipline. And a lot of us want to be revolutionaries, but we don't want to be disciplined. Right. We want to show a lot of bravado, but we don't want to show strategy. We don't want to develop stratagems to actually accomplish something. And I thank Allah for the wisdom of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for the 10,000 Fearless. Yes, sir. Because we had to have direction.
Well, some of the drawback that I'm hearing is that they want to know will we be training with weapons and learning how to shoot and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yes.
As 10,000 Fearless.
Well, definitely not. Definitely not. We don't want to open up any door that would justify the slaughter of us. We want to be able to diffuse any situation. I see a lot of brothers on Facebook posting that they were pulled over by cops and dealt with their firearm and proven that they had a license to legally carry weapons. But whether you have the permit to carry the weapon or not, you don't have a permission to carry weapons. They don't want you armed. And if you are armed, your armament is not equal to the oppressor. You can never be equally armed to your open enemy. Right. And they want you to have a sense of power so that you can go ahead and act a fool so they can justify mowing you down.
Yeah, I think that's a very important point, brother. Unfortunately, we have equated the armament of a weapon with power.
With power.
And when you're dealing with a country with over 300 million people, practically all of them armed, and there are more arms in the households of America than there are people, then you're not going to win that battle when you don't have access to electricity.
That's right.
When you don't have access to water or food. What they will do is cut down your water, shut down your water, shut down your electricity, shut down your food source, and how are you going to eat? How are you going to have lights and how are you going to bathe? How are you going to drink when your enemy has complete control over all of the necessities that you need to survive?
And it will wait you out.
Right. So we have to be wiser than that in this dispensation of time. Yes. And that is one of the reasons why the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the most honored Elijah Muhammad forbade us from carrying weapons.
Much as a pen knife. We don't need it. We don't need it. We really need unity. Right. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that our unity is more powerful than an atomic bomb. The minister said nuclear bomb, but we've tried everything. We tried unity. We tried begging for inclusion. Excuse me. We tried begging for inclusion. We tried armament. We tried everything, praying in, sitting in, waiting in, but we haven't tried unity.
Right.
Pardon me.
But we definitely haven't tried unity.
We haven't tried unity.
And I think that it is evident. I don't understand why we as a people continue to try to combat the evils of white supremacy, racism, without unity. That's right. What is it that keeps us from coming together?
Well, mainly why we keep trying the same things over and over again. We as parents have not shared the struggle with our children. So they have no choice but to repeat the same thing. But we have been bred into a mindset of envy and jealousy, as we will. We really compete with each other to the extent that we are becoming a detriment to our own rise. We don't get joy out of seeing each one realizing their gifts and talents. And then that festers disunity.
Well, we're very immature in our understanding of the struggle. And we're very immature in understanding that we are at war. And when you are at war, imagine a nation at war. Imagine the soldiers of America going over there in the Middle East or wherever they're fighting. And their troops on the ground start fighting and slaughtering one another. Wouldn't that look rather foolish? And I say that if you look at the black community, we have an open enemy that is at war with us.
That's right.
But we are constantly fighting and killing one another.
That's right.
We look very foolish in the eyes of the civilized world.
That's right.
So I imagine that the 10,000 Fearless is trying to address that, as I understand, because they're meeting with, and we're meeting with street organizations all across this country to bring peace and stop the beast between these organizations.
That's right.
What do you think?
Well, I'll say this. When you said open enemy, that's the thing that we have to wait. He's openly opposing your rise.
Right.
Everything that we tried to do, there was always a group of white supremacy opposing our rise, even using the restroom,
right.
Seeking education, seeking employment. There has always been something that has moved them to try to deter us. So really, in truth, in reality, we are all that we got. We have no choice but to unite. We've been singing this song for over 40 years.
Yes, sir.
Well, in South Carolina, 30 years, because they didn't desegregate until 73. But we have to try. We have to try what we haven't tried, and that's our unity.
Well, unfortunately.
Did I answer your question, brother? I don't know.
Yes.
Okay.
We're going to continue to talk. Unfortunately, it appears that the black community, within the black community, there are open enemies amongst the black community.
Mm.
You know, there seems to be, unfortunately, a particular aspects in our society, in black America, that have become an open enemy to the rise of the masses of black Americans.
Yes.
So what must be done to draw out that element from among us? Or do they need to be identified?
They should be identified, but then not only that, we have to show them that their nearness that they desire is not going to solve their own personal
needs. What is their desire?
To be near.
To who?
Nearness to the oppressor. Nearness to creature comforts, a better home, what they feel is a legacy that they can pass on to their children. But many of them, their own children, are being pulled over and beaten by the police.
Mm-hmm.
Republican Representative Scott here in South Carolina was talking about all the times he was questioned and harassed because he didn't, what the officer said, he didn't fit the profile of a congressman.
Mm-hmm.
And then he wrote to our brother, President Obama. But there is no nearness. They only use us to confuse us. So that those at the bottom can look up and say, if I just press a little more, endure a little more, then I can attain that. And him at the top, he's looking down at his brothers and sisters reaching for his spot and saying, no, I want to be lonely at the top. I don't want you to be included. I want this bread from the rich man's table all to myself.
Like Lazarus. I tell you, one of the things is, it appears that those of our people who have become educated and who've been put in positions of authority and influence over the rest of us seem to have forgotten that there were those who sacrificed their lives and died for them to get to that stage in their lives where they are now at a position of power and influence. So they seem to get there and think that they did it all on their own. And then they turned their backs on the people that died to open up a door for them. That is very treasonous in my eyes and a very traitorous act, because they have us thinking individually as opposed to thinking collectively. And that's why we have been marginalized in every arena of human indices in this society.
But that's the painful position that they place themselves in. They fear that if they show any kind of concern for their own, they'll be cast out of that whatever position that they think they got, which is really only an illusion.
Right.
You're only there as long as you're useful to them.
So you might as well be useful to
yourself and your people. Right. That's right.
So I think that is one of the telltale signs that we need to be very aware of, because I don't think we as a people will come up out of this condition until we really examine those who are put in front of us, whether they're political leaders, spiritual leaders, or social leaders, military leaders, athletes, entertainers. We need to examine them and every word that comes out of their mouths to make sure that they stay in touch with the masses of their people and work to try to amend the condition of the masses of our people. I think one of the things that we need to do as a people, we have to stop really applauding black faces in high places that are not doing anything for the masses of our people. We shouldn't give a damn about seeing a black person in power unless that black person has the best interest of his people at heart.
That's right.
There is no Jewish powerful person that is not representing or speaking for or giving to causes that directly affect the Jewish people.
That's right.
We are the only ones, that, in my opinion, that I see
That's right.
that take pride and get into a certain level in life and ignore
I think we have arrived.
Right.
But interesting you mentioned the Jews. They require, they demand on them, what are you going to do for your own kind?
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do for the state of Israel?
Mm-hmm.
And when you don't respond like they feel you should respond, then they have nothing to do with you. And you could be a superstar among the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, but the children don't even have nothing for you when they put those demands on their own kind. We should do the same thing.
Exactly.
We should do the same thing, especially in this hour when people are dying in the street. And these young teenage brothers especially just don't have an idea. It hurts me when I hear them arguing with the police. I know my rights. He doesn't care about your rights. He doesn't care what you think you know, especially when you're in the dark and it's just him and you and his light in your face. We're in a dangerous time. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said we're in the shadow of death. And we have to respond correctly if we tend to make it through this dark hour.
I know my rights. So that is presupposing that our people actually believe that you are citizens.
Exactly. Or you can't do this to me. And then all that does is incite the ego in him because he wants an excuse to kill you. He wants an excuse to take you out. So
So what do you suggest that those of our people who come in contact with very aggressive kind of police officer, law enforcement, what do you suggest they do?
Well, you should really maneuver your way out of that circumstance and fight on a more suitable battlefield. You're not going to win that argument at that time pulled over. Give him what he asked for you. When he pulls you over, cut your lights on so he can see in your car. Tell him I have no weapons if it's at night. He asks for your license and registration. If you don't have it readily available, say it's in the glove compartment. Can I reach for it in the glove compartment? Again, officer, I have no weapons. And then give it to him. We just don't have the luxury to do what others have done because we're not dying at those. We're dying more than any other segment of people. So we are targeted.
Right.
So you tell him you don't have any weapons. You show him. Now we're taught in the FOI class. I'm getting comfortable now.
Yes, sir. Get comfortable.
That when you give him your driver's license, you have your lawyer card with that, so he can see this man is aware. He's alert. He's informed.
Right.
And say, why did you give me this? You say, well, my lawyer told me to do this. Anytime I'm pulled over, give my driver's license with this card. Show him your registration. And make your answer short and to the point.
Right.
Where you're going. I'm going home. I remember when I was married, I was pulled over by the police. And they asked me to step out the car after they asked me where I was going. Then they asked my son's mother, well, where were y'all going? And she said, we're going where my husband said we're going. We have to think. We have to be thinkers. We have to avoid this. And it may, to some of our young brothers and sisters, it may seem like you're being a punk or a tom, but you're being a master strategist.
Right.
You're diffusing a situation. Make sure that you're straight. And we really, in truth, this might sound corny, but we have no business being out at night. Wrap up your business and get inside because we're at war.
Right.
This society has declared war on us, and all we want to do is live. We want to be family men, and we want to have families. We're not against the country. You will find none of black people as a whole against the United States. Matter of fact, we were the first one. Christopher Addis was the first one to lose his life.
I would venture to say that we are
the
most loyal citizens
and patriotic citizens there are. We do harm to ourselves, but we're not against this country. We're not against this country, and we're not against white people. And now another thing I want to make known: the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is not gearing up 10,000 Fearless to attack whites or attack any other segment or group.
Well, you're certainly not going to attack 300 white people with 10,000 people?
With 10,000 people, you're not going to do that.
No, sir.
But we're attacking ignorance.
Right.
We're attacking fratricidal conflict.
Right.
We're attacking the abuse and misuse of our women
Right.
through this new craze sex trafficking,
Mm.
where our young girls are being kidnapped from bus stops and young women are being kidnapped and, taken away, never to be seen again. We're attacking drug sellers, and we're attacking the road cops who are involved in the drug trade.
Right.
We're attacking all of that.
Right.
But we're not against society.
Right. Yeah, we're not against any Caucasians having their lives, living their lives, spending time with their wives and their children, going to work. And that's not what the 10,000
That's
Fearless
not what
is
the
about.
10,000 Fearless
The 10,000 Fearless is about making our own community a safe
and
decent place to live.
place to live.
So let's go back to this black inferiority
Yes,
complex
sir.
that
Yes,
exists
sir.
among our people, because it has to be uprooted.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be removed from among us. We have to, unfortunately, we have to start calling out those whom we can identify that are not really working in the best interest of our people.
That's
I don't think it's necessary for us to snatch them up off the street, but
No.
but we have to start calling. We have to start bringing attention to those
That's
who
right.
are not in the best interest of our people. We have too many people among us, and we will never get real freedom and justice and equality with those kind of people among us who are so willing to really sell us out
That's right.
for 30 pieces of silver or less. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, one of the main things that gets me is that they hear these bills being passed and they either cast a vote that's not in the best interest of their people,
mm-hmm.
or they be silent on the vote.
Mm-hmm.
And that's local politics, that's national politics. And and they came in those seats of power on our backs.
Right.
And they promised that they would represent us.
Right.
So they should be held accountable on that. And that's all I have to say about that,
Yeah, the
brother.
key word, brother, because there's no accountability
At
among
all.
us. If we don't make sure that we hold those whom we elect to office or we fight to put in positions of power and influence accountable to this community, to
Mhm.
our community, to our people. Because when we put them there, we didn't put them there to be silent. We didn't put them there to not stand up.
That's right.
So we as a people have to take personal and collective responsibility to make sure that we hold those accountable that we put into authority to stand for our rights. We should be more of a self-respecting people, that we make others respect us. And the only way we can do that is if we are organized in a collective manner and united to push an agenda that's in the best interest of our community forward onto those who say they represent us. And if they don't represent us, then we unite and get them the hell out of the way. Because that is the only way this kind of insanity is going to stop. We now, for the sake of our children and our grandchildren, have to be passionate and really, really have the zeal to confront that which is not in the best interest of our community.
That's right.
Whether that person is black or white or Hispanic, it doesn't matter. We have to be like the Constitution said. We have to be able to fight against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Now, the domestic enemy for black people are those who look like us from our community. The foreign ones who don't look like us and live outside of our community. We need to parlay that particular aspect of the Constitution into our own personal sphere of influence and make that a reality in terms of foreign and domestic enemies that are among us as a people.
That's right. Well, my thought is this. We are good people. And even those that have been selling us out. So we have to really start looking at this. Has what we've been doing, those who live well and those who have not lived well, has it worked for us? Has it gotten us what we need to be successful in this life? And if it hasn't, then I just implore you to listen to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Listen to what he has to say. We have a solution that will solve our ills. We have an economic blueprint that he reintroduced to us in 2013 that will solve some of our economic ills.
What do you say to people that say, well, I'm a Christian. I don't want to listen to no Muslim. Or you have Hebrews that say, I'm a Hebrew. I don't want to listen to no Muslim.
Yes,
See, we still have this disunited factionalism that goes on amongst us. It's like black folks, we are set tripping.
That's right.
It's not just the
That's
young
right.
brothers and sisters who are in gangs that are set tripping.
Mm-hmm.
The adults are set tripping. We have given them the cue, the youth, to set trip because we've been set tripping.
That's right.
I'm a Christian. I don't want to deal with those Muslims. I'm a
That's
Muslim.
right.
I don't want to deal with those Christians. I'm a Hebrew. I don't want to deal with those Muslims and Christians. So we are giving our youth the example of how not to work together, how to kill progress, because we as adults are set tripping more so than our children.
Well, there's the book out, The Secret. When they read The Secret, and it was popular at the time, they didn't ask what religion he was, what he thought. The 50 laws of power that these those who represent us in upward positions of high, our own people that are black like us but don't act like us. Mm-hmm. They read these books, Secret. They read that. They didn't care what religion the man is.
It's coming from the white man.
Yeah. So who moved my cheese?
Right.
Or 50 laws of power.
Right.
They know they don't believe the same. But it does come from the white man.
Let's get to the root of this thing, brother.
Yes,
because we have to be honest with ourselves as a people. Mm-hmm. We really, as a people, the white man is God. We don't say it verbally.
We don't realize it, but that's what we think.
We don't say it verbally, but we act it out.
Mm-hmm.
He's a God to black. Well, I won't even say that because there's two types of black people. We got to understand. Let's go to the root of this thing. Let's chase it down. See, we don't like the N-word. Mm. We don't like to use it. We don't like to hear it. But we have to acknowledge the fact that some of us are niggas. A lot of us are niggas. Mm. And that hurts. Mm. What is a nigga? A nigga is not a black person. A nigga is a black person that has been made in the image and the likeness of the worst of the concepts of the ideology and belief in white supremacy. That's what a nigga is. And a nigga is not just a ghetto person. We got niggas in corporate America. We got niggas that are doctors, lawyers. We got niggas in the boardroom. We got nigga politicians. We got nigga economists. And a nigga never works in the best interest of his people.
So that they're unscrupulous, they don't have any kind of, code of honor?
A nigga is an enemy to black people.
Well, I agree with that, but you were saying that they just don't have no kind of moral compass, or no loyalty.
They may have moral compass. They have no loyalty.
Yeah, okay.
Because their minds have been remade into the image and the likeness of the worst of white people.
That's it.
And they are more defender of white supremacy than some of the white folk. And they will come against black leadership and black activists who are actively involved in trying to improve the quality of black life in America harder, oftentimes, than the white man himself. What the white man will do is send niggas to attack black leadership who has the best interests of their people at heart.
That's right.
So when you got that dynamic going on, see, the nigga worships white supremacy. Mm. The nigga don't worship, his God is white supremacy. His God is the white man. But we don't want to deal with that. But we will never get out of this condition being afraid to look at the truth of ourselves.
That's true. That's true. We won't. We won't be able to change our condition until we're honest with ourselves. God only helps those who help themselves. Charity starts at home and it spreads abroad.
Yes, sir.
And that was I like that. I like that assessment right there.
Oh, praise the Lord. But we really have to be honest in assessing ourselves and the conditions of our people. Because if you're not hurting, if you're not in pain over the condition of black life in America, then you have been made into exactly what the Constitution said we were. 3/5 of a human being. You're 60% human. If you can't feel the pain and the suffering of black people in this country, you are subhuman. If you are a black person and you're walking around with the nigga mindset, you need to be deniggified so that you will have some sense of concern and passion for your people. So unfortunately, brother, whether we are in the streets or the suites, the nigga exists. And that nigga must be uprooted. That nigga mind must be uprooted and removed and placed with the black mind that is in love with black people and feel the pain and suffering of the black electorate and the black cause that we are all trying to be a part of.
Now, with that, the 10,000 Fearless is not just a Muslim thing. That's another thing I want to share with it. All you have to do is be willing, even if you're afraid when you join, just be willing to be fearless. You can belong. I like talking with my Masonic brothers, brothers, of course, in the street organization, my Christian brothers with no religion, those who are brothers in African tradition and the Rasta brothers.
Right.
All of us can be the 10,000 Fearless, and sisters can be members of the 10,000 Fearless. Now is the time. Right now, the beginning of the 21st century is the time for us to start producing legacies for our children without telling them, son, daughter, all you need to do is get a good education. You can attain a home. Stay out of trouble because you don't want to mess up your transcript. See, then you telling him that his success or her success is tied to the Caucasian.
Right.
So the 10,000 Fearless wants to set up a foundation where we can develop a legacy for our children.
Exactly.
I'm 43. Brother, you might not want to tell you how old are you, brother?
I'm old enough.
Exactly. My son is 12. You have a son that's in his 20s,
Right.
and you have a daughter that's
In her
20s. What will we leave for our children?
And our grandchildren.
And our grandchildren? That we don't want them dealing with this same enemy. We don't want them being, every time you see a cop behind you, your heart is racing, even though you're clean.
Right.
I've never been a user of drugs. I've been out in the world as a young man, but I've been in the nation for 20 years. I've never done a legal thing since I accepted my home.
Right.
And strive to be myself. But still to this day, if there's a cop in that rearview mirror, my heart races. I'm checking to see. I know my license is straight, but I'm wondering if my license is straight.
Right.
So I don't want to pass that on to my son. You don't want to pass that on to your sons and daughters. We must have 10,000 fearless men and women willing to stand in the gap and build a foundation for our future, our children.
Brother, I've heard police officers who are black and still on the police force
That's right.
say that when they are on duty, when they're off duty,
That's right.
a police officer behind him and he's white,
Absolutely.
their heart race the same as ours.
Exactly.
So we all are getting the same thing from the same open enemy. And what really gets me is that when we try to explain to the Caucasian people how we are feeling, I don't even understand why we even trying to explain it anymore. Because after 460-something years in America, they know what they're doing.
But they don't have to deal with it.
But they don't have to deal with it.
That's why. That's why there's a nonchalant attitude. What's the little blonde-haired girl on television who always has something
Fox
to say?
News, I can't
Yeah.
remember her name. I know you're talking about.
She is completely clueless because she has the autonomy to be clueless. It's not her problem.
I wonder sometimes, brother, if they're clueless or they just don't give a damn.
But when you don't care, you when I want to learn something about someone, I go from clueless to unclueless. They don't give a damn.
Right.
I've been hanging around him too long. But they have the autonomy to do so. We don't have the luxury to not give a.
Right.
We don't have the luxury. So come check out the 10,000 Fearless. See what it's all about.
But you got to be fearless.
Yeah. Well, come even if you were fearless, but I guarantee you, we're going to make you unfearless.
Right.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, make all men and boys join the FOI. He didn't say, make them join the mosque. He said, train them fast. And we're going to train you fast. We're going to make you brave fighters, willing at any time to give your life
when you talk
for
about,
God's sake and
when
righteousness.
you talk about black folks giving their life,
But not so much dying. Not so much
You
dying.
got to explain that.
But well, it could be dying too.
Exactly. But look
I'm
at this.
willing to do that too.
You are. But look at this.
Mm-hmm.
How can you die for what you don't love?
That's right. That's right.
Our people don't love each other. I mean, most of us, too many of us, I'm going to say most, but too many of us hate each other.
Mm.
You're not going to die for what you don't love.
What you don't love.
You're just not going to do it. So one thing that needs to be taught in our people to make them fearless, you are fearless when you love something.
Yes. Sir.
That's what makes you fearless. Love makes you bold. So when you are in love, that's when you would love a woman. You would give your life for that woman. When you have children, your love for your children is uncompromising. You will give your life for your children. Your love for your mother. When you will give your life for your mother, your love for your father. You will give your life for your father. So when we are taught to love one another,
that's right.
That is the prerequisite for fearlessness.
Well, yes, sir.
So what we have to do is teach our people how to love one another.
By teaching them the knowledge of self.
Knowledge of self and why they should love one another. Because when you love one another, then you are willing to lay down your life for your friend, as Jesus said.
As Jesus.
So we have a lot of work to do in our community.
That's right.
You know, and our people have a lot of work to do. but you have to have at least enough courage to come and hear what is being taught in the 10,000 Fearless, so that you will have the desire and exercise the power of your will to overcome your personal impediments to loving another black man and woman in order to work together in unity to solve the complex problems of our time.
Yes. Well, I'll say this, just take that step. I haven't been in front of a camera in some time, and it was a little jittery before I came out, but I took the step because I knew that what we were trying to accomplish is bigger than the jitters I was feeling on the inside. Yes, just take the step, brother, sister. If you want to see better, and all of us do, no matter what we're doing, we want to see a better condition for ourselves and our people. Up under all of the stuff that we get involved in, God is at the center of us.
That's right.
So just take the step and learn about the 10,000 Fearless. What's the website?
Which one?
Justice AL, so they can register for the 10,000 Fearless.
Yes, justiceals.com.
Register. Right here in Columbia, South Carolina, we have a headquarters here. Come seek us out. We'll be glad to share with you. Whatever question you have, we'll be glad. If we don't have the answer, we'll get it for you.
You need to get that number. Go ahead, brother.
We do. We sure do. I got it.
Do you have the number to the 10,000 Fearless locally?
Locally, yes, sir.
Give them that number and have them to call that number. They can get more information. In fact, I think in the next weekend, you guys have a weekend.
That's military science, brother.
Right. So on the 27th.
Explain that, because we don't want people to get
exactly
afraid.
On the 27th of August, which is next weekend, next Saturday.
Yes, sir.
We are having a military science seminar. Military science, not with weaponry. We're not going to have Uzis and all that. We're not going to have any guns, any knives. But we're going to be teaching on military science, the science of military training and tactics and maneuver and strategy. In business, they always say that business is warfare.
That's right.
It doesn't mean that when people go to do business, they're carrying guns with them. It means that they have strategy and tactics and maneuvers in order to make sure that what they are doing in business will become successful over the opposition that impedes their pathway to progress. So that's what military science is. So we want to be a science about how we go about our military training, military maneuvers. Military implies tactics. It implies strategy. It implies how to overcome an obstacle in the pathway of your progress, even while you're behind enemy lines. So where we are, unfortunately, right now in America, since we have been treated like an enemy to the majority populace of this nation, we are behind enemy lines. So you have to come and get the military science training of how to maneuver, how to strategize, and how to conduct yourselves in a very hostile environment in which we live. We're going to have these seminars, I think about 6 of them, and once you complete them, you will get a certificate saying that you have completed the military science training of the 10,000 Fearless. Mind you now, we're not going to be training you with guns or weapons or none of that. But we will teach you how to use your hands and your feet if you are attacked for self-defense purposes.
And that number is, for the 10,000 Fearless in Columbia, is 803-470-2368. That's 803-470-2368.
We'd like to get our brother, Brother Mario X, on this show the next time.
That's right.
Because him and his family are one of the board members and founders of the local Columbia 10,000 Fearless here in the city of Columbia. And we're going to be working with other black organizations also in operational unity to make sure that we make our people aware of what is going on in our environment and to educate our people on how to become more politically astute, more business acumen, so that we can use our united front to get those things that our people need to advance themselves and improve their quality of life right here in the city of Columbia and the state of South Carolina.
And one more thing, we also want it to be known that we're not asking you to stop spending time with the other organizations you belong to, because we're one of the few organizations that believes in cross-pollinating.
That's right.
In the united front. Right. Grassroots. We have to unify. We can't be disunitive. So you can be of course, a member of your church. We're never going to ask you to change your faith because that's what got you here thus far. Right. But if you're in the Masons, of course, stay in the Masons. If you're a member of 100 Black Men who are also locally in partnership with us at 10,000 Fearless, stay there. The NAACP, stay there because those organizations got us where we're at today so that we can sit before you and share these ideas. Right. Well, a lot of things that we take for granted, and that's one thing that we don't want to do. We don't want to disregard the backs that we stand on, the shoulders that we stand on to get where we are today. So the 10,000 Fearless is inclusive.
That's right. That's right.
And also for our Latino and Native American brothers and sisters, we need you. We need the 10,000 Fearless. They're eliminating and exterminating on what they call Native American brothers and sisters.
Right.
Unprecedented numbers. Right. And our Latino brothers and sisters have been fed the deception that we're not brothers and sisters, that we're at odds with each other. I mean, I can point out the conflict in California. We're all one people.
Right.
And that's one thing that allowed white supremacy to rule. He exaggerates our differences.
Or exacerbates
our differences.
Yes, sir. He exaggerates and exacerbates.
Yes, sir.
You know, and unfortunately, we fall victim to it because we are not rooted in ourselves. So I thank you, dear brother. Do we have anything else that you would like to say before we close?
I enjoyed this, and we're going to be doing this more often because it's necessary. But you're also going to see us work. Me and my brother and other brothers and sisters, we're going to be working because now is the time. Now is the time.
Well, we're going to definitely be doing this more often. We get permission from Sister that's in charge of I5 TV.
Wonderful sister.
Jasmine Springer. Let's see if we will be able to do this weekly or bi-weekly or bi-monthly at her convenience, because we definitely need to put information out there in our community that gives us inspiration to function in a society that's diametrically opposed to Black life in America. So we definitely want to make sure our community becomes more engaged, becomes more intelligent. So we want to bring back the sexiness to intelligence.
That's right.
We want to bring the sexy back. For a Black man and woman to be intelligent, that's sexy. So y'all think sexy is revealing your clothes and revealing your bust?
You're revealing your mind?
Yeah, you got to reveal your mind. That's intelligence. That's really sexy. Wow. You see a beautiful mind more than a beautiful body. That's sexy. So brothers and sisters, don't let this society dumb us down by thinking that we have to be revealing of our bodies. But let's reveal our minds and bring sexy back to intelligence.
That's right. That's right. And whenever there's something going on concerning us, go out there. It's so easy to be at the comfort of your home on Facebook or on Instagram. iChat and Twitter. Come out to these meetings where they discuss what they're so bold, they openly discuss what they intend for our children and us. Come out and check out. Let's be vigilant. Let's be involved on the local level.
Not only do they openly discuss, they openly are active in destroying our lives.
Yes, sir.
We have become so dumbed down and unsexy
and desensitized,
that we actually fall victim to their open plans because we are not cognizant of the fact that we are at war. Well, we're not at war because we don't understand that we are at war. When somebody is at war with us, I'll put it that way. Somebody is at war with us. White supremacy is at war with Black life. We are not at war with white supremacy because we don't even recognize that there's a war going on. So first thing we have to acknowledge is that our lives are in danger. The lives of our children and our children's children are in danger. And what we're asking our people to do is come together in a united front, not with guns, not with weapons. You can choose what you want. That's how you want to do it. But the 10,000 Fearless, we are not that organization.
That's right.
So we are coming together to use the power of our mind, the power of our being, the power of our faith in powers that are greater than ourselves. But that power that is greater than ourselves give us the self-accusing spirit to exercise the power of our will through our collective intelligence to overcome it. So that's what we're asking us to do, is come together in unity.
Because it's not going away by itself. He's not going to stop. They're not going to stop.
No, they're like the Terminator.
It's going to increase, as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said.
They're like the Terminator.
Yes.
They will not stop. Do you understand that?
That's right.
They will not stop.
What they're doing today is for that little white boy or girl that was born this morning at Richland Memorial Hospital.
Very good point.
That's what they're thinking about.
That's what they're thinking about. But what we're doing today for our little black girls and boys that are being born.
That are here or unborn, we have to do something. We have to do something.
But what are we doing?
Well, right now we're dying and arguing and fighting each other. We're dying in the street. Or we're self-medicating, the stuff that we do to ourselves without him being involved, because he is in our mind.
Break that down with the self-medicating. Make that clear.
Stuff that we do that we call entertainment, clubbing and partying. Even, my age, in my 40s, there's people out there, out there trying to, what's the dances that my son does. We don't have time for that. We don't have the luxury for that. And we really, and that's why I wonder, when we see things on television regarding police brutality, do we think that that's somewhere far away from us?
No.
Little sister Corinne was harassed repeatedly.
Mm-hmm.
No friends or family made any outcry. There was, that's what I'm thinking. That she was documenting this, recording this.
Mm-hmm.
Am I correct?
That's correct.
And then they consciously made a decision to ambush her at her home,
to murder her,
and assassinate her.
Right. And they shot her son, 5 years old. Shot him.
So is this the time to party and club?
Well, to many of our people, they look at it as a way of an escape.
Yeah. Yes.
For the pain of black life. So,
pain of being black in America.
And that's why we drink a lot. Mm-hmm. We smoke a lot of weed. We snort some coke. That's self-medicate.
Yes, sir.
Inordinate
amount of sex.
Or inordinate amount. 3-4 times a day. To some of us, that ain't even enough. Mm-hmm. So we try to escape from the pain of black life in America.
Yes, sir.
So we have a lot of work to do, brothers and sisters. And I try to laugh sometimes to bring some levity to the subject, because it can get pretty intense. And I know I'm kind of an intense person.
Passionate person.
Very passionate person. But I love our people. And yes, I am in pain daily of what is happening to black life in America. I am in pain daily thinking about my children and my children's children. I'm in pain daily thinking about the sacrifices of my mother, my father, your mothers and fathers, those who came before us, the ancestors who died, to see us try to get a better life, and to see us turn our backs on them, turn our backs on their struggle and their suffering, all to get nearer to the forces and power of white supremacy.
That is killing us anyway.
That's killing us and will continue to kill us. It hurts me to my soul. And so when I see those kind of people come up from among us and be given prominence by the enemy, and they get in these positions of power and influence and sing the same song that the enemy sang that they want us to digest, that pains me. And to me, that is an outright traitorous act.
Or when they say that things have gotten better.
And they know damn well it's gotten worse.
It is it's systematic in how that's done.
But we have to wake up. We have to open our eyes. And I would say, pardon me for saying such words, but I'm not going to say it. I think we need to hear it. I think that we really need to realize there's some serious
work that has
to be done. There's some serious pain and struggle in our community, and that we are in the valley of the shadow of death. And right now, it's really not the time for diplomatic language. I would like to be sweeter in my presentation to some of you, because I know some of you have such sensitive ears and you're so holy. And to hear somebody say a word like damn and hell, it may throw you off a little bit. You're going to close your ears, but you will listen and watch Corinne Gaines get murdered. You will watch Trayvon Martin get murdered. You would watch Mike Brown get murdered.
Tamir
You
Rice.
would watch Tamir Rice, a 12-year-old police officer, drive up within 0.2 seconds and then blast it at him. You will watch that, but you worried about me saying damn and hell and nigga. But you will watch how people get slaughtered in the street and not open your mouth.
No, they'll say they should have complied.
Okay, but Philando Castile complied. They shot him right there live on Facebook Live. Alton Sterling was trying to comply. Not Alton Sterling was trying to comply, but they beat him and shot him down.
And because they complied, they ran their criminal background and they tried to look for dirt to justify murder.
And that's what they always do. Justify the killing.
That's right.
They justify it. And some of us help them.
Mm-hmm.
That's the sad part.
Well, it's just because they feel that they have to make an excuse so they can be comfortable to carry on in what they've been carrying on, nearness with the oppressor.
Well, you know what we got to do as black people? We got to make it very uncomfortable for those of us who are trying to make themselves comfortable. Explain to us the evils of white supremacy and why it's being done to us. We have to understand. We got traitors among us. That's just the bottom line.
And if they're in the positions of power, we got to ask, well, what are you doing up there? We haven't heard nothing from you lately.
So we intend on organizing the streets and the suites to open up their minds and look at those who are presented to us as our leaders. And we're going to make them lead on our behalf. And if they don't, we're going to get their behinds up out of this office. We're going to vote them out, and then we're going to ostracize them.
That's right.
From our community for selling out. I think that's the dispensation of time in which we live, because no political leader, no business leader or economic genius is more important than the masses of our people.
And the future of us.
And the future of us.
As a people.
As a people. So brothers and sisters, we have to be passionate. We have to increase the depth and breadth of our love for one another. And really understand that the power of God is present among us. Even if you don't believe in God, the power that's in yourself can awaken.
That's right.
For us to overcome all obstacles in our path.
That's right.
So I hope to see all of you next weekend, August the 27th, Saturday.
3:30.
3:30 at Save Our Kids. What is the address off of Beltline Boulevard?
34.
We should have gotten that before we came on the show.
We apologize.
The brother Todd the God will look it up right quickly to see what the address is. We would like for you to be there, and I know that the enemy will be sending some of us in there to see what's going on.
And that's so maybe they will hear something and
good.
change their mind.
We want you to come because
that's right.
We're not there to call. We're not trying to.
We're not breaking no laws.
Harming no one. That's not what we do. We're law-abiding citizens of this nation, but we're trying to be citizens. But you all don't seem to want to treat us like a citizen with white supremacy in charge. But we are law-abiding. We break no laws. So if you are invited to those among our people who will be sent in, maybe you'll learn something. And then maybe your heart will change more towards your people and not thinking that we're all criminals and all have ideas to really overthrow something. We know
or realize the circumstance that we're in. In the oppressor's eyes, we're all the same.
Right. They'll just kill you last.
Yes.
After you finish selling out all your people, they'll get you last. So we're gonna
we'll get the address out.
Well, it definitely will be out. You'll see the advertisement and stuff on Facebook. So we're sorry that Brother Todd didn't come prepared to give you that information on the show. So thank you, dear brothers and sisters, for watching. I want to thank Brother Todd X. McGraw.
I want to thank Brother Craig
for coming on the show, and I want to thank definitely the brainchild of I5 TV, Sister Jazz.
A wonderful Sister Jazz.
A wonderful, beautiful sister who has a very magnetic, effervescent personality.
Right.
Thank you, brothers and sisters, for watching our show. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place.
Be blessed.
Peace.